Anyway, hello, one and all. Welcome back. It's been a pretty long break for us, but probably not for you. These are going to be coming out in a relatively, consistent order over here, so you're not going to really feel the gap like we did, but we've been off for 2 weeks, essentially. This is the usually disappointeds. It's the most disappointed, it's Ethan.
It's a slightly less disappointed Andrew.
And it's the sometimes disappointed Ben.
Amazing. I'm gonna speak for Elias here, since he isn't jumping on this one. But Elias stated that he is taking a break. How long that will be, we are not sure. Up to this point, he still should be editing our audio. And he'll still be working on the back end of things, but he's not going to be jumping on the recording. He has other things that he would like to do in the meantime, other passions that he wants to chase after, and that's totally okay. But we explained to him that he's, obviously more than welcome to jump back on whenever he wants to, so it's not like a permanent thing or whatever, but for the time being, he will not be here. That all being said, who played the games over the past 2 weeks?
I played 2 of them.
Tell me the 2 of them.
The one I talked about last week, Doom Eternal. I've been playing through it again, so I can get all the. I'm playing through it on an easier difficulty, so I can go through and get all the collectibles and challenges and stuff like that.
Sick.
But yeah, after I'm done with this, I'm probably gonna shelve it and then move on to probably like my next one. I'm thinking of is Portal 2, because if I haven't explained it before, what I'm doing is I'm like saving up for the PS5, but it's a slow process, and so I was like, you know what? I've got I got almost I think 200 games in my Steam library, and I haven't played most of them, so I'm just gonna play through as much as I can until I have the money for the PS5. And so yeah, the next one's probably gonna be Portal 2, and then the other one I played was was this week's game.
Nice.
I'm quickly just taking a look at my Steam library to see how much I have. I technically have 648 titles, so I guess I could, take a break.
Yo!
And, wait.
I think I have
on buying
12.
more garbage. Yeah, wait till I can get a better computer or get a PS5. That's the goal for me, is getting one of those to go in ASAP. Which it should be soon, because I'm working a new job with good money in it. So,
Hey,
Andrew, tell me what games you have played.
I actually have quite a few.
Wow!
I played the new Mario game, obviously.
Oh, sick!
Oh, nice.
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Super Mario 3D World, I really like that game. It's definitely, a lot of people think it's kind of more lower rung on Mario games. And I can see why. It has this weird quality where the camera is in this position where it's kind of hard to judge depth perception. And also the first 2 or 3 worlds are kind of boring, but it picks up pretty quickly. A lot of the later levels and the bonus levels are some of the best you'll play in a Mario game. It's 4-player, kind of like the 2D new Super Mario Brothers games. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it, obviously. I don't think they'll ever release a Mario game that I don't like, but but what's cool about this one is that they added kind of almost an entire second bonus game called Bowser's Fury. Now that game is really fun. It's kind of like Mario Odyssey. It's you're in this big overworld, and there's just a bunch of little stars just scattered around this big map, and you just kind of go around collecting them in any order you want, which is awesome. It's a lot smaller scale than Mario Odyssey, obviously. There's only 100 collectibles as opposed to the 830 of them from
Damn.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it only took me 5 hours, I think, to 100%. But yeah, Mario's really just my safe space, my comfort food. Like,
everybody needs that.
Yeah, whenever honestly, I'm sure there's a lot of things you could like nitpick or criticize about like Bowser's Fury, but like it was just kind of like lost on me. I was just the whole time I'm just like, this is just really pleasant and nice. And there's this thing in the game where Bowser, I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's like he's gigantic and he's like the shadow beast, and like every like 5 minutes or so he just kind of pops out anywhere on the map, and he's just like gigantic Goliath, and you can go like right up next to him and he's like breathing fire at you while you're like doing platforming and stuff. It's actually quite intense. It's pretty fun. Yeah, super fun. I don't know if I'd recommend it to people who aren't pre-existing Mario fans, at least not till the price drops. Nintendo gets a lot of flack for releasing old games at $60.
Yes, I
and that is very much a valid thing. Like,
Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
New controls.
Oh yeah, we should talk about the Nintendo Direct at some point. Yeah. I will say this. I bought a few like old Nintendo games at $60. I don't recommend doing that. I did the wrong thing. Like, put me in chains. Don't follow my advice.
You're a consumer.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't support Nintendo doing that. Like, I would recommend waiting for the prices to drop before getting those things.
For a good chunk of my non-new Nintendo stuff, like for ports and stuff like that, I've basically like just been kind of like borrowing those games from other people who do have them. That's been my thing, is like, I'm not gonna buy it, but I have like friends that are gonna buy it. It's like, can I just borrow that off of you? Because I don't want to give Nintendo $60 for a game that came out 7 years ago. Yeah. And, they tacked on an extra, like, 5-hour game mode onto it, and they said, hey, $60, please. Like, not how it works, sweetie.
The 3D World might be worth it. Like, Bowser's Fury is, like, legit pretty fun and, like, well-designed. Yeah, plus 3D World's a good game, but, like, I don't... maybe
it's $60,
maybe $40,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
see, now, I would pay $40. I'd pay $40 for that. $40, I feel like, is an acceptable asking price for, let's say, like, the Skyward Sword re-release, or the, or like, Bowser's Fury or something like that. I feel like $40 for these, like, new ports... And that's what they are. They're ports, not even remasters. They're ports, essentially. Like, sure, Skyward Sword, maybe they, like, up-res it, and that's it. They're not doing anything else. They're just up-resing it and giving you stick controls. But, all of that for $60 is a bit, again, a little, But $40? No, I don't foresee that being an issue for me.
And hey, they will go down pretty quickly. I think
I don't know. It's Nintendo games.
Well, I mean, if nobody's buying them. That's why I want to spread the word that don't support this. Like, if people aren't buying it, they'll lower the prices.
Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna buy Skyward Sword, but now that I think of it, by that time I will already have my PS5, and I'm probably gonna be putting tons of hours into Demon's Souls, so I probably won't even think about Skyward Sword until I'm done with that, Ratchet and Clank, parts of my Steam library. So it'll probably be maybe another year or two before I actually get around to it.
Yeah.
It'll either be about $30, or it'll be like Breath of the Wild that still is like $50 to $60. No in between.
Yeah, but I mean,
perhaps
Breath of the Wild makes sense. It's a giant freaking game.
Yeah, that's one of their best sellers.
Yeah, that one's definitely worth the $60. I still haven't done close to everything you can do. I've put probably over 100 hours into it.
Yeah, same with Mario Odyssey. I'd still drop $60 for that. I think that's fair. Although, speaking of that, if you guys ever want to play Odyssey, I'll just lend you mine if you don't want to buy it.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I might take you up on that depending on how my birthday goes in the next week or two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, do you guys want to talk about the Nintendo Direct?
Sure.
I mean,
There's
I would,
nothing to say, but
well, I would go on about it. Two things. One, I don't really have much to say about it other than that it was really boring and, you know, it was all just stuff that you kind of would have expected and a bunch of non-announcements of ports and whatever. And also that I don't feel like going in depth into it is really worth it considering our, you know, late episode release schedules and everything that, you know, by the time this comes out, it's going to be completely irrelevant and everyone's going to be forgotten about the Direct. And also that we have, you know, you have to finish the rest of your, you know, spotlight on games, and then I have mine, and then we still have our main discussion, and I would rather not make this longer than what it needs to be.
That's a fair point, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to like go into a huge in-depth discussion. I just kind of wanted to bring up Splatoon 3, which was surprising.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason that, well, I'm a huge Splatoon fan, so I was obviously pretty happy about that. I see like the main like discourse on the internet is it's kind of stupid, I guess, for Nintendo to release a sequel to Splatoon on the same system, which I don't get. Like, why? By that logic, why ever make a sequel? It's not that weird.
It's not that weird if you put it in comparison with other consoles, but I think it's probably weird for Nintendo fans because they're used to new installments of franchises being like attributed to different consoles, like, you know, how Melee was a GameCube Smash, and then Brawl was the Wii's Smash, and then War was the Wii U's Smash, and then, you know, Ultimate for the Switch.
Yeah, when Nintendo like releases a game with the same assets on the same system, like take like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, for example. Majora's Mask uses all the same assets as Ocarina of Time, so they're able to make the game a lot quicker. And and Majora's Mask is such a unique game, so like historically, when Nintendo does that, it's kind of the breeding ground for their more unique ideas, because they can spend more time in the gameplay. So my guess is that when Splatoon 2 first came out, the big criticism with that was that it was too similar to the first game, which isn't a valid criticism anymore. With all the free updates that they've done, the game's completely different now. But if that's like the main criticism of the second one, then the third one, I'm sure they'll do something pretty like wild and different. And I know like with Nintendo, it's like, oh, they always do the same thing, but Splatoon's the new franchise. They that's run by a bunch of like young people. I don't think the same thing's gonna happen with that game franchise. I could be wrong. Who knows? We'll see. But at least that's my hope, is that it'll be a bit different at least, and try something new.
Guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. Let's see.
Mario
you guys
Golf
remember
looked
that
fun.
game I talked about a while ago called Blue Fire? It's like a Hollow Knight 3D game.
Oh, yeah.
I tried playing more of that, and at this point, no, I don't recommend it to anybody. I think it's a terrible game.
Oof.
Oh my gosh, there's this part where you're in this huge room, and what you're expected to do is hit these two levers to open this big door. This is not communicated to you at all, okay? The levers are the exact same color as the rest of the room. This room is huge, and they're just occupy this tiny little space. So I was just running around for like 45 minutes. Because like it just does not communicate the game at all to you. It's completely leaves you up to your own devices. And after that, there doesn't seem to be any boss fights in the game. The music is very bland. It has a very annoying checkpoint system where you just keep getting sent back like 30 minutes earlier because I guess you can only save at these certain spots. And the certain spots are like very few and far between, it seems like. Yeah, the graphics are boring. The environments are also boring. The fighting mechanics isn't good. It's it might get better with like patches in the future, but as for right now, yeah, don't play it. It's pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it. Like when I kept looking at it and hearing people's thoughts on it, like the big consensus around it is that probably like wait another year or two before like you actually get into it, because by then maybe they'll have fixed some of the things that are making it, that are holding it back.
Yeah, I am playing it until they update it.
Yeah, because I think it does. Like from what I've seen, I haven't actually given it a try, but from what I've seen, it looks like it could have potential. But as long as, I mean, if they were to fix the things that are causing issues for people, then and then maybe like change some stuff down the line, it could be a pretty good game.
Yeah, maybe.
At least entertaining.
It's going to take a lot of work. It feels very beta right now.
That was kind of, I guess that was pretty lazy of them to. They released. Was that a physical Switch release or was it just digital?
I'm not sure. I bought it digitally though.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, with that state, it only really sounds like it would get a digital release, but still, like, releasing it officially on the Switch when it's not in a finished state, that says a lot about the developers, I guess.
Okay, well, I've gone on long enough. The only other thing is the game of the week, I guess, so go ahead, Ethan.
So, I played a little bit, kind of what my usual amount would be if we were just doing a singular week. But now that I'm, working again and working a job that's working me a lot of hours, it's not been going nearly as frequently. I've been playing some shorter games as well. So, one game I played and I really enjoyed going back to. And I never finished it before, and it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, baby.
Huh.
The arcade beat-em-up game. We got a local game store nearby us, and he has a bunch of reproduction arcade cabinets at the front of the store, and one of them is Turtles in Time. And I went to the store with my little brother. I was using some of my trade-in credit there to grab some games and stuff like that. But I saw the cabinet there, and I was like, oh yeah, no, like I've played it, but I never finished it. My little brother and I just hopped on the cabinet, and we played through the whole game. And it's pretty good. I'm the resident side-scroller beat-em-up fan here, and it's very good at that. It's nothing amazing, but it's a pretty good, refined game. I do feel that I've got a couple nitpicks with it. I feel like having an extra button for different stronger medium attacks would be kind of nice. You only have at least on the arcade board, you have your joystick to move around, the little arcade joystick. You've got a jump button and an attack button, and that's it. And so with that, you can't really pull off amazing stuff unless you're I guess really wiggling around that stick and just trying to experiment what you're doing in real time. But yeah, for what it is, no, it's really good.
Speaking of Teenage Mutant Needle Teetles.
Yes.
Have you played the PS2 one?
No. Huh. The only other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game I really sat down and played through was I think it was the Game Boy version of the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox game. And that Game Boy version actually slaps because it's another side-scrolling beat-em-up, and it's actually pretty good.
Interesting. I'd recommend if you can emulate it or whatever. I actually have a physical copy, so if you have a PS2 laying around or something like that,
I have one sitting right next to me.
Epic. I mean, I don't know how good my disc is, but you can borrow it if you want to give it a shot.
I do think I have it on my Dolphin emulator too.
For the GameCube. Awesome.
Yeah, but of course, if I can always... Here's the thing, I like emulation, but if I have the opportunity to play it on actual hardware, then I prefer to play it on actual hardware.
Mm-hmm. And I do have the disc. It's actually right next to me, so...
Sick.
Yeah, so if anytime you want to play it, let me know and I will come by and drop it off for you.
Sick. I'll keep that in mind. I still need to actually play Wind Waker. Your copy of Wind Waker I still have.
Oh, sick.
I still need to play that.
I get on it.
Next, I played. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew.
Oh, just agreeing with Ben. Like, play Wind Waker.
Highly recommend.
Next, I played The Simpsons Hit and Run. I took a nostalgia trip because I found the PS2 that I had for years, and I finally found it. And I don't know how you lose a PS2, but I did. But I found it. And I had an old copy of Hit and Run in there, and I was like, cool, let's play it. Let's see how it is. Because obviously I remember really liking it, and it's fine, but it certainly has not aged gracefully. I know that a lot of people really stand by it as like some sort of like, I guess like childhood gaming masterpiece, but it's got a lot of problems, and primarily that it's a bit like inconsistent in its difficulty, and that like there are missions that are just piss easy cakewalks, and then there's just like complete ball crushers immediately after. It's kind of whacked out on what it's like trying to do there. It is also like it's very repetitive in nature, like extraordinarily repetitive. You have about maybe like 4 mission structures, and it's just that repeated over and over again throughout all the missions in the game. And you have 7 levels with, I think, 7 missions per level, and the levels are like, you know, area of the map. You control a new character. You start off with Homer, then you go Bart, then you go Lisa, then you go Marge, then you play actually as Apu, and then after that, I think you switch back to like Homer and maybe even Bart. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a bit all over the place, content-wise, but for what it is still pretty good. One thing I kind of forgot is that, because when people think of Hit and Run, they think of Grand Theft Auto clone, and that's kind of true in that you can like run around the map and you can kick people and whatever, and you can like quote unquote steal cars or whatever. But it's still a racing game at its core. So like 99% of all the missions that you will do in the game are driving. But then you have a little bit of open world stuff. You have a little bit of like 3D platforming to find collectibles and stuff like that. So, again, it's kind of all over the place on what it's sort of asking you to do. And it makes it a somewhat interesting game, but at its core, it's deeply flawed. And yeah, no, again, it was interesting to go back and revisit it, but, you know, nostalgia is one hell of a drug, and I know a lot of people really, really love this game, but I think it's time that we maybe try and take a little bit of a critical eye towards the games that we grew up playing, because I'm not saying that everybody has to agree with me and whatever, and if you love the game, if you played the game like last year and you're like, oh yeah, I still adore it, then I totally see why. The controls in the game are actually really good. Like the racing, it feels so good in that game. It feels really good to race, which is good because 99% of the time you're in a car. But yeah, but again, there's still a lot of, you know, kind of nagging issues with it. So, but yeah, no, that was my brief little like nostalgia check-in just to kind of see, hey, what's up? And was like, okay, well, interesting enough.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that game on like memes and stuff like that, but I personally never played it.
Oh yeah, it's like a major cultural touchstone.
The best Simpsons game, right?
To a lot of people, yeah. I don't know yet, because there's still some Simpsons games I haven't played yet. I want to play the Simpsons game from like 2008, and then I still want to play the Simpsons arcade beat 'em up, which I have not played that yet.
I still need to watch like the first like 8 seasons of The Simpsons, basically.
They're good.
I've only seen like maybe
So
12 to 15 episodes from that time frame, I think. And yeah, we're good.
I would recommend if you are to play Hit and Run that you do watch at least like a good chunk of The Simpsons before you like get into it. Like again, those first like 8 seasons, because there's a lot of, I mean, it is a little reliant on referential humor where it's like, haha, remember this? But there are like certain like actual like built up joke callbacks to like stuff that happened in early seasons and so forth that is actually pretty entertaining. So, I definitely would recommend if you're to play Hit and Run to get a little more acquainted with The Simpsons before you decide to go out and do so. But next, I have 2 games left, and I'm just going to get this one out of the way because this one's a bit quicker to explain. But I explained, I think it was last episode, that I was taking a 2-week Call of Duty break. I did, and now the new season has started. So it's time to grind again. Every season of Call of Duty, I think now is like, there's one big update in the season, and I think there's like a mid-season update, and then the season ends, and then they kind of like, it repeats. So we have our Season 2 update. This is our first update for Season 2, and with that, we've received a couple of new things. There was a leak that happened a little while ago where people were like, whoa, this, like, Call of Duty is gonna do, like, an open world zombies thing, and it's gonna, I was like, hey, that sounds kind of interesting. I really like COD Zombies. I think the idea of maybe breaking things a little open world, like the Warzone map or something, this could be really interesting. No, it sucks.
No.
It's so bad. I have played several games of this, and the mode's called Outbreak, and what it is that it takes maps from the game mode Fireteam, which is like Warzone but mini in a way, but with like respawning and whatever. And it takes all 3 current Fireteam maps and makes it into like a kind of zombies mode. There's no real like barricades or anything like that. And here's the thing, it's just they plop you in, and then it's like, hey, you have an objective that's all the way across the other side of the map. Go run and do that. And the whole time you're just running and running, and then you'll find like a small pocket of zombies that you kill, and then you're running, and then you're running, and then there's a small pocket of zombies that you can kill, and then you're running and running, and then you get to the objective, and then the objective is either a protect a thing as it moves, or a protect a thing that is stationary, and it's like, kill me, come on, are you serious? Or it's like a little like survival wave thing where it's like, oh, you're plopped in a tight area, oh, don't die. It's like, this sucks. This is so freaking uninspired and boring, so, flat and dull. Like, come on, put some freaking effort into this. It feels like an asset flip game. I could play better zombie games like in Steam Early Access for like $2 than, any of this shit that they just plopped out on us. It sucks. It's ass. Yeah, so Outbreak, that's the name of the mode. It sucks. I haven't tried the zombie stuff in Warzone yet. I can report back on that and see how that is, but right now, Outbreak in Black Ops Cold War is just, it's big poo-poo. Other than that, we received a new multiplayer map. It's not good. It's another boring-ass 3-lane map. But the one thing it has going for it is that there's a tiny bit of verticality to it. And I mean, like, tiny bit of verticality. Like, there's a second floor to a building in the right lane, and like, that's about as much as it has going for it. It's a smaller map, so I guess it kind of works, I guess, for like 1v1 game modes or like 2v2 or whatever. But other than that, it's boring. I'm being increasingly disappointed with Call of Duty updates, because the only thing I found so far in the COD updates that I've liked are old maps that have been brought into the game from like Black Ops 2 or whatever, or the newest zombie map that we got back in the mid-season update, Firebase Z. That was a good zombies map. But other than that, it's just been like kind of starved for good content in Call of Duty, which, I mean, I guess I did that to myself. What should I have been expecting? But, I mean, haha, funny COD bad joke, but, whatever. Last, get this out of the way, the game I've been playing the most over the past little bit. That's Darkest Dungeon.
Good old Darkest Dungeon.
Yes. For context, I played and I beat the game already on, like, vanilla, so without any expansions or mods or anything. Well, except for, like, a couple of cosmetic mods. Like, I installed the Moon mod, which, you know, gives a bunch of meme skins to characters, and, of course, you know, I had to grab the eyeball skin that gives everybody, like, comedically gigantic eyeballs. It's quite fun.
It sounded like you said you installed the Moon, and I was like, nice.
Yeah, it's the Moon mod. If you know what Moon Man, right? That meme that turned into like a total like weird ass Nazi thing.
I can't say I do.
It was originally like a McDonald's commercial, and it was like adopted by the vaporwave scene, and then Nazis took it as they typically do. But anyway, I've been playing Darkest Dungeon again, but this time I've been playing it with the expansion. So I have the Color of Madness and the Crimson Court installed, and you know, I personally would say that Darkest Dungeon on its own, if you're to play it like vanilla, it's about maybe like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 difficulty game. It's tough. It really puts you through the ringer. It is unforgiving, it is brutal, and it will laugh at your defeat while you wallow in pain. It is very against you all the time. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, the expansion content not only ups the difficulty, which would be fine on its own, but it also completely ruins the meta of the vanilla game. And it honestly makes me glad I played the game vanilla before I even bought the expansion content, because these expansions are not good. Color of Madness is okay. It's largely a do it when you want to sort of thing, where it has like a singular radiant quest after you defeat a boss, and you have a roaming enemy that will stalk you in certain dungeons, and they give you a warning before you go in. It's like, ooh, the thing from the stars might be lurking around here this week, like, you know, be careful. Like, okay. When you run into him, he was really bad the first time I ran into him, but now I kind of know what to do to beat him, so he's not too bad now. You just have to make sure you're prepared for him, because he can wreck your shit if you're not careful. But, like, again, Thing from the Stars, whatever. It's not that bad. Crimson Court. Crimson Court sucks. And I hate saying this, because I love Darkest Dungeon. I love it. I think it's a freaking fantastic game. It is awesome. Really well put together. Amazing art style. Intriguing gameplay. You know, it's for a turn-based RPG, which is something that I never play. It's really good. It's one of my few exceptions to playing 100-hour turn-based dungeon crawling RNG-based RPGs. All of those buzzwords are like bad omens to me, but I like this game. Crimson Court is just awful, man. It sucks. It revamps everything in such a terrible way. You get new enemies that show up that give a thing called the Crimson Curse, which is a curse that gives your your characters like a bunch of debuffs. So, they're more likely to be bled, to get damage over time. Or blight, which is like poison or whatever, or they have less disease resistance, so they'll catch something like the Black Plague, or they'll have like less accuracy and less damage, or they'll have like freakouts or whatever. They can't heal as much, or oh my hell, and it sucks. Oh, actually, I don't think they do disease resist because the Crimson Curse is the only disease that you can carry on a character at a time. Anyway, you need a thing called the Blood, a specific item that you just find randomly as you play, and able to make sure that your characters with the Crimson Curse can stay alive, because if they don't get the blood, they can waste away and die. Awesome! They'll just, like, not even if they're on a quest with you, they'll just keel over before you get back, and it is just awful. And besides that, you need to, like, enable to get rid of the curse, you have to defeat the area boss in the Crimson Court. Okay, doesn't sound too bad, except for the fact that the dungeons there are bigger than the endgame dungeons. The final 3 dungeons of the game do not compare, or at least are about the same size, if not a little smaller or bigger than the dungeons for the Crimson Court. And you have to go through these, and you can save your progress, which is fine, so you can leave that quest at any time. Here's the problem though, you need invitations and able to get to the court. Here's the thing, how do you get invitations? Completely randomly by random enemy encounters or interacting with specific items or curios, just like, you know, interactable things like bookshelves or whatever, like these weird blood sack things, and able to make sure and hopefully that you get the character that you need to that's holding the invitation. You need to kill that character within about 4 turns, or else he leaves. He's gone. And there you go. There's your invitation squandered. It's infuriating. It adds at least an additional like 50 to 70 hours onto the game.
Oh wow.
Which sounds cool in concept, except for the fact that all that is just grind. It is all grind and just smashing your head up against a wall until you're finally done with everything, because it's awful. And more and more characters just keep getting the Crimson Curse, which means I have more and more characters that need the blood. And even then, if they're like, if they're okay with the Crimson Curse, like if they're in a passive state, or even if you give them blood on a quest and they get a thing called Bloodlust, you know, they get some cool, like, you know, boosts to their stats, but now they're like susceptible to doing random actions. Oh, they're going to start attacking their teammates. Oh, they're going to attack out of turn. They're going to do an attack that, you know, you didn't get to choose what they did, so they'll just act on their own. And I really hate this expansion, and I'm really sorry for going on about it for as long as I have, but I need a place to vent about this, because the Crimson Court is just bad. And the thing that just makes me really nervous is that I really, really hope that, because Darkest Dungeon 2 is going into early access this year, we will be receiving it this year. Ooh. I really hope that we do not get anything like the Crimson Court in Darkest Dungeon 2, because
what's been like the community's consensus on that?
It's largely been negative. You go onto the Steam page for it, and it's rated mixed. So, yeah, I mean, I could quickly check. Let's take a look. Darkest Dungeon store page. And, oh crap, no, I didn't want to go to the store page. I wanted to go here. Crimson Court. Mixed. Let's check the percentage. Let's see. 68% of the 1,319 user reviews are positive. So, it's considered mixed, but it's still largely positive. And then on recent reviews, it's mostly positive, with about 14 reviews. So, you know, it is a bit mixed. Critic reviews, though, for the Crimson Court, though, were good, but the problem that I have with these critic reviews is that none of them have finished. Nobody finishes these, like, big-ass hard games. Yeah, they give them a freaking score and say, oh, yep, it's great, and, you know, tell people, oh, this is good, keep doing this, when those of us who are actually, like, playing through it and actually are finishing it are smashing our heads up against a wall and, like, what the hell is this? Like, you're not going to be able to get 10 hours into this expansion and be able to, like, formulate, a cohesive opinion on it. I've been playing this expansion for 50 or so hours, I think, so far. And, yeah, no, it's awful. And I still have at least another, 50 hours to go through until I finish the game with the expansion. So, please, no more of this. It's too much. It is too much. And I don't mind difficulty. Again, I finished the base game. I'm okay with difficult games. But I don't like unfair games. Games that are... And games like this that are designed to just put you into a perpetual grind loop until you smash your head up against a wall enough that you finally break through, where the RNG is finally forgiving enough to be like, oh yeah, now you can progress, instead of, just looping the same bullshit over and over and over and over and over again till you want to kill yourself. Ugh! Darkest Dungeon, Crimson Court, bad. Anyway, let's talk about a good game.
Real quick though, when you said the critics will play only part of a game and then say, oh yeah, it's good or whatever, reminds me of that whole fiasco a while ago when that game journalist tried to play Doom Eternal, and
the Polygon one, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and he was struggling super hard, to just, I don't know, move around the level when doing it really wasn't that hard, and then he was complaining that the game was bad and stuff like that. It was bruh. I watched the whole actual video, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I get where the whole game journalist meme comes from, especially after the Cuphead thing.
Yeah, and I am technically a, give this 4 air quotes, game journalist. And the thing is we don't ask, and the general public, from what I've seen, there are some stupid gamer chud dickheads that, expect everybody, who plays and reviews games to be MLG Pro FaZe Clan 420 Snipes, Triple X, awesome G Fuel sponsored #GamerTM, but normal people like us just expect media literacy.
Yeah.
And for the most part you see that.
For the most part you do see that, yeah.
But when it comes to hyper hard games and stuff like that, and games that take a really, really long time to do and aren't, given by a AAA publisher, they're not gonna finish it. That's just not what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. They're gonna get 20 hours into a 100-hour experience, give it an 8 out of 10, and move on with their lives. Cool, but how's the whole thing? You didn't review the whole thing. But
yeah.
Anyway, time to move on. I've been getting too mad and going on for too long. Gee, it's almost like this is every episode of this show. Anyway, Andrew, you recommended us a game for us to play.
Yep. It is called Sunset Overdrive. It is an Insomniac game. Bit of a cult classic, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Sort of like Tony Hawk Pro Skater meets Jet Set Radio, I guess. Because I actually looked it up and that was indeed the inspiration.
Yeah. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Jet Set and Clank.
And Clank.
And Clank.
That's the title of this episode.
I didn't see it.
Featuring Penis Shotgun.
I say Ratchet and Clank in that the gameplay feel, for me, it feels very similar to, outside of the traversal and everything, but gun cool. Feel and the wacky weapons and how they operate, it's very similar to Ratchet and Clank's style of that, and individual ammo pickups for the different guns and whatever, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually started, when I first got into it, I started playing it like Ratchet and Clank and was instantly overwhelmed by the hordes of, zombies.
Yeah,
because that's not how you play it.
Yeah, it wants you to play very differently.
Yeah.
It has that DNA lurking underneath the surface, but it is far more of a Jet Set Radio, inspiration than a Ratchet and Clank one. But the influence is still there. Anyway, Andrew, continue.
You play as the protagonist.
Yes.
We're getting very Christopher Nolan up in here.
Dude, Christopher Nolan ripped off Insomniac. Confirmed.
Dude, he should make a Sunset Overdrive movie. That'd be dope.
Oh, I would rather kill myself.
all practical.
Do you know who would make a good Sunset Overdrive movie though?
John Woo.
Edgar Wright.
Oh yeah. I mean,
John Woo could make an interesting one.
True.
Get some Hong Kong action cinema in here.
But Edgar Wright is just so stylistic, and Sunset Overdrive is equally stylistic. So it's like, yeah, he would probably make a really good Sunset Overdrive movie.
Yeah, I just love to see Christopher Nolan do something this colorful. That'd be fun.
Something this fun and entertaining.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Instead of super serious.
Yeah, but it's like the general thoughts on the game, because I really, really liked it for the most part.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I give it like an 8 out of 10. Really good.
So, I have an interesting perspective on this, in that I've already played this game before, and I've mentioned it on the podcast before that I've played it. I was a day one purchaser of this back on the Xbox One. It was one of the last games I actually ever pre-ordered, and the only reason why I pre-ordered this was because I was making a minimum wage at a fast food job at the time, and so I had to pre-order and like incrementally pay on a game before I could actually buy it.
Wait, was this when you were working at Arby's?
2014? Yeah, no, I think I was at Arby's. Either at Arby's or was at Lagoon. Yeah, it was one of those points in time. I don't remember. I think it might have been Arby's. Anyway, I loved the game when it initially came out. I beat it in a weekend. Like, I had a total blast with the game. And the thing is, I never
Sunset Overdrive bender.
I never played it after that. So it's been 7 years. Oh, it's been nearly 7 years since I last played it, and that makes me feel terrible. But yeah, but I booted it up again. I played the Steam version because a friend of mine gifted me the Steam version, and I played that. And I'll definitely say that I still very much like it. I don't love it like what I used to, though. And I have my complaints with it, and we'll get to that in a minute, but I am on board with everybody else in that I like it, but actually, like, I was kind of more leaning on a 7 out of 10, honestly, so I think Andrew might, like, take over in liking this more than I did.
I might echo you in that I think if I played this more than once, I think I'd get pretty bored with it. I don't think it's a game that probably holds up well to replayability. It seems like you can only tackle missions in like maybe just a couple different ways.
Yeah, I would agree with you on the replayability thing if like I played it a year or less, between the two. But it's been 7 years. Like, I know, like, I am replaying it technically, but it's been 7 years. I remembered some things about it. Like, I remembered, some of the guns. I remembered the traversal mechanics. I remembered the tutorial level. I remembered the invisible wall gag. And I remember the fizzy blimp mission. Probably the best mission in the game. But
the fizzy blimp boss fight?
Yeah, that was probably
fun.
my favorite mission. But outside of that, I was kind of like drawing blanks on, kind of remembering a lot of it. And a lot of it came coming back to me as I kept playing the game. I was like, oh yeah, no, there's this. And I'm like, I'm having a ton of fun with this. But then I'm also like, well, about a couple other things as well. So I'll get into more nuance on that after you talk about it more, Andrew, since this is your recommendation.
So yeah, it's like a post-apocalyptic game where you play as the protagonist, and you are, and for whatever reason, you're just way more agile than everybody else. But despite that, you are still working like a very like bottom of the barrel job, and you hate your life, and all you do is drink beer all day. But then an apocalypse happens with I guess a bunch of people got hooked on energy drinks and they turned into monsters, which is awesome. I love that. And I would definitely be one of those zombies. I think I'd be very much addicted to that. Yeah,
Which
and
one would you
you
be?
you just kind of meet a bunch of different people. It's a very mission-based plot. Really, you just gonna run errands for people. They even make jokes about it. It's like, yeah, I just kind of run errands for people, then they like me, and then we move on to the next plot point.
Yeah.
It's very much that kind of story, which isn't like super engaging, but it's not terrible either. I'm happy there's something. Like, I like how the guy you play as is like a guy with an actual personality rather than just a silent protagonist. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But
The
Yeah,
game
especially
has
in a game with a create a character and whatever. The problem is that character voices are really annoying.
yeah, did you think that the did you guys play as like the regular base male character, like not the big one?
Yeah.
Is it just me or did he sound a lot like Sonic the Hedgehog?
a little bit, not entirely, but I could see it. Yeah.
I totally thought it was the
Now
same
that you
voice
mention it.
actor. Then I looked it up and no, it wasn't the same guy. But yeah.
I haven't played any of the voiced Sonic games really yet. I'm still working on the Genesis era, so I can't say.
I mean, you could just stop there, frankly.
I remember I made my character look like he came straight from 2012. He like popped right out of the Party Rock Anthem music video.
Ugh.
I gave my guy a porn star mustache.
Nice.
Really tight leggings. Oh, I think it's great.
I spent the whole game wearing the Insomniac moon on my head.
Oh yeah.
I wore the spiked football pads, no shirt, and boxing gloves with like punk rock jeans, and that's all I wore.
Excellent.
Yes.
I had like those biker jeans, those biker pants or whatever. They weren't necessarily jeans, but and then I had like the denim vest thing, and then I had the black and red emo hair with the white hipster glasses.
Nice.
But by the way, I don't think we've gotten like Ben's overall thoughts yet.
Oh, well, mine is currently sitting at an unfinished out of 10 because I haven't yet finished it because I've been getting my ass kicked with homework, and also I was like addicted to Doom Eternal. But I played a lot of it yesterday and I got quite far, and so what I have played, I have really enjoyed. I think if I were to keep going, right now it's probably sitting at like a 7 or 8 out of 10, so that's pretty strong.
So yeah, we're pretty close, all of us, I think.
Yeah, we're all in the same ballpark.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's good. A generally positive rating. And I just want to let you know, Ben, you can't really like have this game spoiled.
Oh no.
There's not really. I mean,
Yeah.
it all kind of like ends how you'd expect it to, and it's kind of a non-ending anyway.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, there's not really much here in terms of actually being spoiled on it. So I feel that we would be fine talking about the final quest or so and not have to worry about ruining it for Ben or anything.
Oh,
so.
I've actually technically not finished either.
Oh my hell. Really?
Yeah.
You gave an extra week.
Sorry, the new Mario game came out. Actually,
Understandable. Have a
also
nice day.
something actually kind of stopped me from playing for a while too. Something pretty weird that happened to me. I'm not sure if this is the game's fault, but here's what happened. You guys remember the train chase part where they kidnapped 4 or 5 Kim or whatever her name is, and you
Yeah.
have to like chase her train.
For Kim.
Yeah, I was doing that mission wrong. I was using the Teddy like bomb launcher thing, which is my favorite gun, but you shouldn't use that weapon with that mission. It doesn't work. So I was like, this
You
mission's
get more hit scan
impossible.
on things.
So I actually
yeah.
exited the mission because I was like, maybe I should go buy a different gun. It turns out all you need to do is use the Dirty Harry. That makes quick work of that
Yep.
mission, but
Hit scan.
yeah, I'm stupid, but anyways, I exited the mission and I went to go buy some more weapons, but it wouldn't let me back into that mission. Like it wouldn't like it didn't give me the way marker of like how to get back to that train mission.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. But it did bring me to like I think it's an optional mission or something. You guys know Bro Cream, the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I entered this mission like after I exited the train mission with Bro Cream, so I didn't even like meet the character yet. And you're supposed to be like protecting him from like these zombies that are like rushing him. And then like he gets in like this like battle mech, and then you go to the island, and you guys know what I'm talking about, or I think this might be an optional mission.
I haven't gotten to that point, so.
Yeah.
Which mission again? Sorry.
Yeah. So you're with Bro Cream, and he gets in a like a mech, and you're going to like save his sister or something, and then
that might actually be maybe an expansion mission.
Yeah, I think it is.
There are 2 expansions to this. I haven't played the expansions yet. I want to because I never actually like got them as a youngster. So when I finished the game and I went on the backlogged page for this and saw there were 2 expansions for the game, I was like, what?
By the way, that mission was awesome. It's probably my favorite part of the game I played. And the boss that you fight is like huge and awesome. Like it was great. I really loved that, but I had no idea what was going on because I hadn't. I was like, is this like an optional mission or like a DLC type thing that I'm playing out of order? But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that a lot. But then, like, after I was done with it, it then allowed me to go back to the train thing. So I played a whole extra mission that I don't think I was supposed to play, and then it dropped me back into the story. And at that point, like, I was way behind, so I'm like, I don't think I can finish this before the deadline. But I did play an extra mission that it seems like that no one else played, so that's something, I guess.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, not sure what happened. I guess I might have glitched the game or something. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that's like a huge critique against the game or anything. Like, sure, like it's some sort of mission bug where I couldn't get back into the mission I was playing, but at the same time I got to play another better mission that I thought was the best part of the game. So I guess
so you can't really like fault it too much.
Yeah, I can't complain too much, I guess. So I'm just gonna consider that to be the ending, I guess. So I did beat the game though.
What did I get? I got so I rescued Kim from the train. The dialogue at the end of that, by the way, is really funny because it's all like they finish up their conversation, and then when they're about to leave, Kim makes a joke about how she's just gonna disappear, how she's gonna say she's gonna go back to the base and then disappear mysteriously, and then because to move the plot along, and then the protagonist is like, oh yeah, that's not weird at all. That sounds cool, and then it's like, okay, cool, bye, and then like the game and the loads back in, gives you control, and then she's gone.
Yeah, so a lot of fourth wall humor in this game.
A lot of video game related fourth wall humor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like just how game mechanics work,
which is good and bad, I think. Like, I don't mind fourth wall humor, but it can definitely be overdone to the point where it's like it's kind of lazy. Yeah,
I feel like it works for this style though.
Yeah, what are you saying?
This brings me to my this brings me to my biggest complaint that I have with the game, and it's that it does get a little too overbearing with the referential humor. I did a big review on Backlogged, like the biggest review I've ever written. I could just read this kind of quote because I finished the game. About a week and a half. 2 weeks ago, so I needed to make sure I had my thoughts written down when we talked about it. But I said largest issue with Sunset Overdrive is its dated humor. It's crazy to think how far we've advanced in terms of comedy writing over the span of 7 years, but even for the time, Sunset Overdrive had quite a few issues with its humor. The typically dated meme references, as well as an over-reliance on reference quote humor over crafting its own original jokes, was a serious issue. See Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon for more information. Now, the real shame is that about 90% of the jokes in this game stem from this formula, which largely does not work. The humor additionally stretches into territories that I like to call the Deadpool paradox. I came up with this term a while ago and I explain it here. The Deadpool paradox is an issue I helm with media that consistently contradicts itself, always within a self-referential manner. Deadpool is the prime example of this due to the film Deadpool 2 as well as the 2015 video game. In both pieces of Deadpool media, constant remarks are given about, quote, lazy writing, quote, bad level design, and so forth, consistently nagging at negative points of the experience, yet writing it off because, well, we acknowledged it, therefore it isn't an issue. Sadly, even if you're going to poke at a cliche or something in your game and think you're incredibly incredibly smart about doing so, the issue still persists within your experience. Sunset Overdrive does this several times within its story, attempting to poke fun at conventional gaming cliches and mission structures, yet still helms those exact same issues. There's nothing wrong with commentary in a video game. Pointing out issues within a given art form within your own art can be quite fantastic. Why I love critique so much, honestly, but you can't do that while also giving into the issues you're attempting to criticize. It delegitimizes your art. That was my biggest complaint with the game is that it's very fetch quest heavy and very, got to do the rule of threes and stuff like that, and it's always kind of like poking fun at, yeah man, look at this, isn't that, yo man, typical cliche video games, am I right? Wink wink, nudge nudge, hey boo boo. But the problem is that as it's consistently like saying like, oh man, this is kind of boring, huh? And it's like, yeah, it is, so why the hell are we doing it? Like, just because you're acknowledging it doesn't mean that you're voiding yourself of criticism. And this was a big issue I saw in a lot of it. Well, I still see it in so much self-referential media stuff that breaks the fourth wall, because fourth wall jokes are usually like, kind of 50-50 on whether or not you're gonna get one of these. And it's my biggest issue with the Deadpool movies as well as the Deadpool video game, which I think is overall an okay, hack and slash game, but it's very like, oh, guys, sewer levels, am I right? And you're stuck in a sewer for an hour. And it's like, really? Like, come on. Like, you don't, just because you made a joke about it doesn't mean you get excused from it. In Sunset Overdrive, most of its humor is there, and another chunk of its humor is about degrading other human beings, which,
yeah, like the LARPing? That was weird.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll get on about this already. I wrote this in my review as well. The last major mention of humor I'll get over before we move on to more interesting topics surrounding this game is the brief yet still eyebrow-raising body-shaming / ableist humor found within a few missions. One particular character is brought into the story around halfway in. I'm talking about Brill Cream, rescued by the player after a grueling set of chore missions. Once the player finds this person, he doesn't have any limbs. There's nothing wrong with having a person with disabilities in your game. In fact, it should be championed. Yet the player character treats this person in such a negative manner, grossed out by their appearance, and is even forced into an extraordinarily uncomfortable escort mission where the player has to carry this person over their shoulder, with their head facing the sun, by the way, back to their base camp. Jokes surrounding this character continue throughout the rest of the experience whenever he's present, yet they're nowhere nearly as outwardly problematic as they are upon his initial introduction. Yeah, I mean, as I read off of my review of that, yeah, I mean, I do have, again, a really big problem with Brill Cream and just how he's treated by other people. He's so, like, I guess, what's the word I'm getting at? Degraded by other people, especially the player character. It's like, I don't know. It feels really gross, and it is extremely dated in that regard, where it's like, oh look, this guy doesn't have any limbs. Boy, that's kind of wacky ass, isn't it? Huh? That's grody. Ew. And it's like, no, there are people that are like that in real life. Like, I don't get what's so, gross or what's so funny about a disability, but it's whatever. You can call it nitpicky if you want, fine, whatever, but, I believe in proper representation in media, no matter the art form or whatever, and we don't get there by making fun of I guess not making fun of people, because we can make fun of people all you want, but punching down. That never works, and again, and that's another kind of like big chunk of the humor as well, and it just again, it just doesn't work for me, and it was kind of tragic that I really did not find the funny game funny, but I liked its gameplay.
Yeah, and that's really like the bottom line there is like you play it for its gameplay, really. It's a very strong gameplay loop, and that's like its main draw. I totally agree that like that's pretty like I wasn't very fond of that scene either. Although I will say in like the little like DLC mission I think that I played, he gets like this big like mech type thing, and like you're going on a mission with him. He does at the end of
the game too.
And at that point it feels like they're like equals at that point, so I think that's a bit of course correction, which is good, I guess, but it shouldn't have been, like, a joke like that probably shouldn't have been made in the first place.
I'll quickly say, at the very end of the base game, he has a mech, and he walks around with it in that final mission, because it's like a final siege mission where everyone's, like, all shooting around and whatever in a place, and Brill Cream is in a Fizzco. I think one of the giant Fizzco robots, but he's like planted inside of it, and he's, helping you, excuse me, goodness, shoot down like OD and other Fizzco bots and whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. Like, I don't mind that.
Yeah. It's a little too late, but...
whatever.
But they did, whatever. I guess, half a point for that, I guess.
Okay, so 7.5 out of 10 now. Oh, cool. I wanted to ask you guys, favorite boss?
The blimp.
The
fizzy balloon.
Really?
That's the most recent one I got to, so that's the guy. That's gonna be my favorite. Yeah, I really like the blimp boss.
Are we thinking of the same one? Are we thinking of like the one where you're in like a plane and you're like shooting it, or you're?
Ew, no.
Oh no, not that
no.
one. No.
Yeah, I'm talking about when you're skating around on the roof of that tall building, and you got the fizzy balloon guy who's screaming at you while you shoot his eyes out.
Really? That one is cool. I thought it might have been a little bit too long, but yeah, that was good. Although I will, my favorite is the DLC boss thing that I don't want to like spoil for you guys if you want to play that, but
yeah, I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, that one was epic. What'd you guys think of that one where was like the leader of the troop or whatever? Like he like drinks overcharge or whatever, and he turns into like this like serpent thing.
Yeah, that one was actually kind of fun. A nice like more traversal based.
I thought that one was awesome. Like you're like chasing.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, it really helps like kind of showcase a lot of the game's strongest traversal mechanics in a fast-paced kind of boss fight type situation. And it's really good.
Yeah.
Did you I get to get there, so
yeah,
no, I haven't.
I haven't played that much.
You're not even like halfway through the game.
I'm not?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even halfway through it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm quite a bit further.
I thought I played quite a bit of it yesterday.
Wow. We need like a whole month, I think.
Yeah, I swear.
Sorry.
Well, now that I'm pretty much like in Doom Eternal, I'm at Urdak, so I'm almost done with the collectibles there. I've already, started the mission that Samuel Hayden says, "Oh, once you go here, you can't go back." So pretty soon I'll be at the longer the icon of sin is on Earth, the stronger he gets.
Wait, so you're playing Doom Eternal, right?
Yeah, I'm replaying it to get all the collectibles, and so that's why I was caught lacking on Sunset Overdrive, because I love that game, because I love Doom Eternal.
So you've already beaten Doom Eternal then, and you're replaying it?
Yeah, I'm replaying it so I can get all the collectibles and all the stuff, so get fully upgraded Doom guy.
Yeah, it's on Discord that like Doom Eternal is like one of your new favorite games of all time.
Yeah. It's a pretty strong entry into the shooter genre for me. For other shooters I've played, but we're talking about this shooter though, the Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, right after I'm done with Sunset Overdrive, I might try Doom again.
I mean, yeah, highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I just need to stop playing it when I'm like sleepy, I guess.
Yeah, because like once you get into some later levels, it demands quite a lot of attention. It gets pretty crazy.
Awesome. What else should we bring up about Sunset Overdrive though?
Towards the end of the game, they bring in a cameo of a musician that's so on the nose it feels like a brick being thrown at your face.
Which musician is it?
I think he's the singer plus guitar player for the Melvins. I believe it's the Melvins.
Yeah, and he plays a concert for a bunch of children.
Melvins.
I can't say I know who that is, so that cameo would have flown right over my head.
But they're a sludge rock / sludge metal band that were, I guess, a little kind of popular a tiny bit in the punk scene, which I do think it's kind of weird that they brought in someone from the Melvins into this game when it's kind of trying to be like more punk rock. And I don't think of the Melvins when I think of punk. I think of Dead Kennedys, Sex Pistols, Bad Brains. I think of punk rock when punk rock is mentioned, not sludge metal. But I don't know. It would be like, if we brought in one of the singers or someone from like Mastodon into this game. It's like, what? What?
What if they brought in just like the main guy from Blink-182? That would probably make a little more sense.
It would make a little more sense, pop punk would make more sense, or maybe even somebody from like
Green
wow,
Day,
I can't think of the band. No, well, I can't think of the band name. I'm stupid. The guys who did Institutionalized. Suicidal Tendencies. There they are. Yeah, anyway, that's a bit weird. I also think it's kind of funny how this is a game that's all about a punk rock attitude and everything, and it's funded by Microsoft, one of the most giant corporations on the planet. I think that's pretty funny. Funny as in like ironic, not really like haha funny.
I mean, yeah, that happened. That's like become like a thing now, is where like all these like big corporations that are,
down with the corporations, bro.
Yeah, they're the corporation
Microsoft Studios.
Yeah, and then like the whole CD Projekt Red thing with Cyberpunk. Yeah, the corpos, screw the corpos, right? And oh well, we also,
yeah, and they're like $1 billion
overworked our employees.
I like to think that the artists are like making those statements. So like, I don't think it's
they're getting
lost on it.
They're getting money from those people. They have to like be within their guidelines and able to produce it though. No one gets full creative free reign in their games. That's unless you're making an indie project and you're your own boss. You have to focus test. You have to pass things up with higher ups. You have to do that. It's not, Microsoft just doesn't go, oh hey, here's $50 million, go make us a video game, and then the developers get to make whatever the hell they want. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. Never has, it never will.
Petition for executive producers in the video game scene to have a gamer score of at least it's a high gamer score.
I currently at 160,000, I think.
So all video game executives have to have a gamer score of at least 100,000 on Xbox, and be at least Steam level 30 or something.
Yeah, they just buy all the trading cards.
Yeah. Actually, no, that wouldn't work. Have to get 100% on a few different games.
Yeah. I need you to 100% Anthem before you can join this job. Also, rest in peace, Anthem. No one ever cared about you. Not even EA. But, yeah, no, again, that's just not really how development really goes on that when you get, like, big money influence.
Yeah, at the same time, I don't know if the corporations are, like putting in notes, like, make jokes about corporations either. Like,
Well,
that's
I
like
mean,
a weird
I don't
note.
think any of us can definitively say whether.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like
that.
I'm not saying I approve. I'm just saying like it's not like I don't want to like defend corporations either. It's just like
Simp.
all right. Yeah.
One thing I'll say that's actually kind of interesting with this game, I noticed a couple intriguing gameplay parallels between how Sunset Overdrive kind of operates in terms of its traversal mechanics and Spider-Man, the game that Insomniac made after this. It's actually kind of cool to see how they kind of further worked on a lot of the traversal mechanics into that, because a lot of the wall running and the air dash and stuff like that, that was all brought into Spider-Man. It's actually kind of cool how you see how Insomniac kind of refined a lot of this stuff into Spider-Man. And of course, I think that, Spider-Man on PS4 is a better game than Sunset Overdrive. But for a stepping stone to get there, it's actually really cool to kind of see, oh, yeah, a lot of prototypical stuff from that game is here. And it's, oh, look at the development. Oh, that's so cool.
And similarly, like with the Ratchet and Clank games, the use of the swing shot and how that developed and changed over time, you can see how it affected like the swinging mechanics and all that stuff in Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to play games like this that maybe aren't a developer's most popular game, but it's one where they kind of are experimenting a lot with gameplay mechanics and so forth. And while it may feel a little rough around the edges, but then you actually get to see that stuff further refined later down the line. It's really cool, and I feel Sunset Overdrive's like biggest value is in that it is kind of the prototypical experimental title before they kind of broke out and refined a lot of that stuff later on. It's quite cool.
They used the weapons from Ratchet and Clank and then prototyped the traversal for Spider-Man all at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the last thing I would say is that, and this was kind of a big breath of fresh air. I know I've been very critical towards this game, and I stand by my criticisms of it. But one thing I certainly really enjoyed about Sunset Overdrive was that it was a game that released at a time when the brown-gray cover-based shooter games were kind of at their peak. I do enjoy some of those games. Gears of War 3, good game, real good. But we were still kind of in the midst of even watching the Japanese gaming industry, follow these trends, and it kind of led to a stagnation of art direction and gameplay. But Sunset Overdrive really helped push things forward more in that it was a big console exclusive title with a big presence at E3 that was chock full of color and was really fast, and it was like not telling you, oh, you don't go into cover or anything. You can't oh, you don't go into cover to hide from enemies or whatever. No, you belt it like really fast and just blow everything up as fast as possible, and able to succeed or whatever. It's all about facing danger head on and being as aggressive as possible at a point in time when it was hide behind the chest-high wall until the raspberry jam around your screen goes away, and then repeat the process,
the
over
raspberry
and over
jam.
Again. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like my, hide behind chest-high wall raspberry jam games. They can be fun. Again, Gears of War 3, awesome game. But they got old, and they got old really fast. And especially when you had developers like Naughty Dog that were ripping that off, and they were doing that with, Uncharted and, somewhat The Last of Us, except, you didn't have your raspberry jam magic go away. You had to, fix your injuries yourself, and it was still brown and gray, mostly chest-high wall, cover-based shooter game with little splashes of color and some missions and whatever. But, but I think that's the only last thing I guess I'd say is, the best weapons in the game aren't the jokey, haha, funny weapons. I use the AK. I bought an AK before you get one from a quest, and the Dirty Harry for almost the entire game, and then the Teddy launcher, like, for the big guys, and that was all I needed.
I see myself using the flaming compensator a lot.
That one is really good against a lot of the big guys. I used that one for the spawners, the guys that run around and spawn more OD, and then the real big ones with the like construction.
The Herkers.
Digger, yeah, Herkers, yeah. Well, those were good for that too. And I also used the Teddy cannon, TN Teddy, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
the TN Teddy.
That's the best weapon.
Yeah,
I love that part where you like
good.
attach like a dog toy to it, and you're like using that dog to like kill.
Oh, Boo Boo, yeah.
I thought that was super fun.
Oh yeah, for the whole robotic dog quest.
Yeah, that
was a case where I thought they took the escort mission thing and they turned it on its head, where it was like, oh, do I have to escort this dog and play fetch with it all the way
No, the
back?
dog's escorting you.
Yeah, the dog's escorting you.
Yeah,
and so I was like,
awesome.
oh, this is actually really fun. I like this.
Yeah, no, that's good. And yeah, the Sunset Overdrive has pockets of like really awesome missions in there. It has some really good stuff, but it's kind of dragged out by some kind of like samey sort of, hey, grab the item, bring it back, defend the point, sort of kind of like, let's kind of get the ball rolling. But then every now and then they throw a mission like that with the kitty or the not the blimp, gosh. The fizzy balloon guy, the one that talks to you and you're on the roof.
Yes, that one.
And I have to be so specific to make sure we're not, because there's that really boring mission when you're flying in the little car plane thing, shooting down the blimp. Ugh, that one was boring.
Yeah, when you guys are like, that's my favorite boss, I'm like, all right.
Like, what are you talking about? Wow, how milquetoast can you get?
I like the generic blimp boss in my weird, like, trippy acid trip game.
Yes. Yeah, and I guess that's one of my issues that you brought up. Again, a lot of generic stuff that can be found in that mission structure and design. But again, every now and then you get that one mission that's like really good, and it's like, oh, and then you kind of go back to, and then it's like, oh, and then poggers.
I just really like the dialogue in the fizzy balloon section, just because he starts off like trying to be like, like he's advertising
drink overcharge,
drink overcharge or whatever, and then like towards the end he's just like going progressively psychotic.
Just die.
Yeah,
screaming at you, that hurt, and being angry with you all the time.
Yeah.
And his like face is falling apart. He's like, ah.
Yeah, the spectacle of that was awesome. Like how his eyes are like on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was
yeah.
Great. It's a great looking
boss
game.
Fight.
Like totally. The aesthetics remind me a lot of Splatoon, which coming from me is nothing but a compliment. And it kind of awakened like a new like artistic like thing in me. I think my favorite like natural biome is forests. I really like drawing forests and stuff like that. However, in terms of like industrial, I really like the street punk aesthetic, like graffiti, the graffiti style I like to call it. That's very colorful. Yeah. It's like, like you see graffiti on the walls and stuff. That's my favorite industrial environment. So I'd like to draw more stuff like that. So it kind of like awakened some more like inspiration for me. So that's something.
Cool.
Nice. There's a lot of value in that. Wholesome 100.
It's Wholesome 100 indeed.
Wholesome 100 Reddit gold.
Speaking of that, what do you guys think of all the cursing in the game? Because I thought it was kind of weird.
It's a little try hard.
Yeah, it's
a little try hard, but I mean, at the same time, it's a punk rock game, so they're all about, I was like, screw the system or whatever. And so it's like, you kind of have to have that little edge to it.
I don't know, but do you really need to be dropping like F-bombs like every? That seemed kind of odd.
I mean, it does get a bit tired, yeah, but it didn't bother me too much because I felt like it fit the aesthetic.
Like it didn't offend me. It didn't offend me. I was just like, this. I don't know if it fits with the game.
They're like, sitting around. They're like, hey guys, hey, don't tell anybody. But they look around like back and forth. Fuck. Don't tell Dad.
That would have been funny. I would have liked that.
They do have a language filter where you can set it to do bleeps, and honestly, I kind of feel in some cases in a game like this, I think it probably would have been funnier if you had like comedic television bleeps for cursing, because they have that.
That does sound pretty funny.
The weird thing is that they cover up, like, because I played it with that filter once upon a time when I first got the game, because I would be like playing it upstairs with my family up, and my mom was like, I was really anal about language in video games, or whatever. She's like, I just don't think that they need to be saying those words and whatever. So it's like, I can't play Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto around her or anything, but with this game, I turned on the language filter, and they would even like bleep out like words like ass and whatever. I'm like, the most like one of the most milk toast, barely even a swear words that you could think of, and they bleep that too. It's like, it goes a little too far. I feel like it would be really funny if it only bleeped out words like shit and fuck or whatever, but like, keep words like ass and damn and whatever in there. It just would actually feel more like realistic, like television would, or whatever.
Censor and heck.
What the heck is going on? Oh, sorry, swear words, don't tell Dad.
It would have been super funny if the protagonist was like this guy that really hates swear words or something, and everybody's like cursing around. He's like, hey, stop it. Like, say gosh and darn and stuff. Like, I don't know.
That might have been funny for like a couple jokes, but after a while, I feel like that would have strayed into like the goody two shoes court.
Or maybe like he gets like increasingly more cursy as the game goes or something. It's like that's something part of his character arc.
My character arc is that I'm getting more vulgar with age.
It's been a few days, but yeah.
which is funny, because I feel like a lot of people's progression with like vulgarity and profanity is like they're like goody two shoes in elementary school, and then they're like super vulgar in like junior high school, and then like they're in college and it's like, why you gotta swear?
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, it's like the little bell curve.
Yeah.
But now we're at a point where someone says like poo poo pee pee, and I'm like, funny.
Yeah.
I hate my life.
Piss, and you're like, ha!
Piss! And then, it's just in a deep fried image or whatever. And it's like a picture of Thanos, but it's deep fried. And it just says piss in impact font. So I'm like, nice.
You're like, oh, that's humor.
I hate my life. Anyway, like, is that everything, I guess, that we kind of had on Sunset Overdrive? Any other thoughts? Anybody?
Piss.
Yes.
Piss penis.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's about everything. Nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, still gotta play it all the way through, so. Good game, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say I'm glad that, we all kind of like ended up like really liking it there at the end. Mm-hmm. I found it interesting that I liked it less, though, considerably less, because if you would have asked me in like 2014, like, Ethan, give this game an arbitrary number out of 10, what would it be? And I'd be like, it's like a 9. But now I'm like, it's a 7. It's more of a 6 than an 8, but it's a 7.
Closer to a 6 than an 8.
Oh, what did you say, Andrew?
So you gave it a 7, but it's closer to a 6 than an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say mine sits probably right around 7.
Yeah, I don't know. I said 8 earlier. I guess I'll stick to that. Maybe I'll change that later.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? As to keep playing it, maybe go through the expansion content and so forth. Who knows how things will change? And I'll probably again play that expansion content at some point. When, I don't know, but at some point probably. But I guess that brings us to the end of this. This is where I bring out a recommendation. And if you can't finish this game in 2 weeks, I will come to your house and I will rip your tongue out of your throat and bitch slap you with it. Because this game is literally 2 hours long maximum. And that is What Remains of Edith
awesome.
Finch.
Oh, sick. I
was
already have
hoping
it.
you'd recommend that. Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, I love this game. I love it, love it, love it. It's so good. It's on Game Pass, on PC and console. Andrew, I would recommend you play it on PC because I know you have access to it on console, but the Xbox One version of the game runs like shit. It runs terribly.
Yeah.
Play it on PC,
I will.
please.
Perfect opportunity to use my PC.
Yes, you'll have more than enough power to make sure that game runs well. I don't know why it chugs on the Xbox One, and it makes me curious how the Switch port would be. Like, how would that go? But
Probably fine.
maybe they optimized it better for Switch. Who knows? But that Xbox One port is big poopy. But anyway, yeah, you can finish the game in about 2 hours. I hope you guys really like it. It's it is easily become one of my all-time favorite games. It's a walking simulator, but it has more gameplay than what meets the eye, and I'm intrigued to how you guys feel about it.
Okay.
But yeah, that does it for me. We'll be back here 2 weeks' time to record the next episode where we will discuss the game. Again, if you cannot finish a 2-hour game in 2 weeks, I will personally see to it that I bitch slap you. And with that, we conclude with plugs. Andrew, thou'st plug thine shit.
Find me at ArtStation, Andrew Langston. artstation.com/Andrew Langston. If you want to commission me, email me at andrewlangstonart@gmail.com.
Ben, thou'st plug thine shit.
You can find a link tree in the description. But I am on Twitter, Backlogged, and Letterboxd at Thunderfellow. I'm very inactive on Letterboxd these days, but you can find pretty recent reviews on Backlogged, and I should post on Twitter, so yeah.
Yes, you have learned how to use Twitter, and I'm very proud of you.
Aw, thanks.
Before my personal plugs, just as a reminder, we are active on... We have a podcast Twitter account at USDpod. That should be in the description of the podcast. You additionally will have access to our Steam group, which I have not updated in a while, and now that reminds me to do that. Add in information for Sunset Overdrive. But yeah, no, for sure. Follow us there. Follow our curator page, because if you just join the group, that doesn't give you, immediate running into our curator page. So follow the curator page too. Let us tell you what to think about video games. And then lastly, my bullshit. I am on Twitter, Instagram, Medium, Backlogged, Letterboxd, Twitch, and CBR. Yeah, that's all of them. All different handles and whatever and bylines and so forth, but you can find the links to all of that in the description of the podcast. Amazing. Well, that I think that might do it for us. Look at that, like a lean 90 minutes. We haven't had a podcast this short in a little while, so let's celebrate.
Well, boys, we just cast that pod.
Excellent.
We're 3 Ps in a podcast.